So in mid-September of 2016, a friend and I headed up to South Fork Sherman Creek Road to do some dispersed camping up there. And once you pull off of Highway 20 onto Sherman Creek Road, go about 4 miles up the road, and there'll be a little pull off on the left side, and it takes you into two little tiny dispersed campsites kind of tucked into the forest right along the creek. And that's where we were camping. So we got up there probably early morning, and we scouted out a couple of areas before we chose this exact campsite. So we pull in, we set up camp, and we decided to break in the campsite by having a beer. So we sat down with our backs to the hillside, and we could see the creek in front of us. And we opened up our beers, and this is in the middle of the afternoon. And we heard a vocalization behind us that was the oddest sounding vocalization I've ever heard. All the activity that we had those first 2 nights, we heard some wood knocks off in the distance the first night. Later that night, we had something in our camp. It ran through. We found some possible hair samples on the tree where we were hearing something rustling around in our campsite. But the vocalization that we heard, it just baffled us. I mean, it was the weirdest sounding thing. If you had ever seen the Looney Tunes cartoons of the Tasmanian Devil, that was the first thing that came to my mind when we heard it. It only lasted a few seconds behind us, but it was loud, it was deep, but it was just weird. It sounded like the Tasmanian Devil. So here is the Tasmanian Devil sound from the Looney Tunes cartoon, and I kid you not, it sounded exactly like this. I know, call me nuts, but that is what we heard. It was the weirdest thing. We both actually, after it vocalized, we both looked at each other and like, what in the world was that? I mean, we actually started laughing because it sounded so weird. But we eventually turned around and walked up the hillside to see what made that noise. Of course, we didn't see anything. We didn't find anything. But whatever vocalized, it was super close. I mean, it was probably just standing up there watching us, and it just basically told us off. So, creepy. So in June, I was at the Medellin Falls Bigfoot Festival, and I got a chance to meet Ron Moorhead. And I ended up buying one of his CDs of his audio and got him to sign it and all that good stuff. And I went home and I started playing it. And the only time I've ever heard his audio was in like old documentaries or maybe a couple sounds on YouTube, but I've never heard all of the audio that he had. So while I was listening to the CD, I heard something on his disc that sounded exactly, well, pretty darn close to what we heard that night. So here's that sound. So basically, when I heard that, it gave me chills because that was so much like what I heard. And doesn't that sound like the Tasmanian Devil to you? It was just a weird vocalization. And of course, at the time, I did not have my recorder running. At this time, I was still learning the ropes of everything, and I would only leave my recorder out in the evening time. But now I've learned my lesson, and my recorder is always running as soon as I get out of the vehicle. So any of you who camp or hunt or just spend some time out there on South Fork Sherman Creek Road, let me know if you guys have heard anything like this. And I'd love to hear your story and where it actually took place. Well, that's the end of this video, guys. So take it easy, and I'll catch you in the next one.